Special forces accidentally found a large amount of cash hidden in the target's house during a secret mission. But this was just the tip of the iceberg.
We got more! Back wall too!
Soon they realized the entire house was like a huge safe. After tearing down one wall, there was another one. The endless flow of cash confused even these battle-hardened soldiers. They started packing the money frantically, making trip after trip downstairs. When bags weren't enough, they used suitcases from the house, but the money was just too much. No matter how they moved it, they couldn't finish, until the vehicle was completely full. It was time to retreat, but the captain was still tearing down walls.
Stop digging more out, we got all this to deal with. Got a couple more loads.
Maybe he had never seen so much money before. The captain insisted on making a few more trips. He only stopped after teammates persuaded him to cover their tracks. They poured gasoline in every room, then set it all on fire. After that, they smoothly reached the extraction point, where they met with a contact and left together. The arranged plane arrived right on time. As they loaded the packages onto the plane, they found the cash weight far exceeded the plane's capacity. The plane could carry 4,000 kilograms, but they had to fly over the 6,000-meter-high Andes Mountains, so the load limit dropped to 1,000 kilograms. No one wanted to give up. Everyone was greedy to take all the money, so the plane took off overloaded with big packages, flying towards the coastal border. Outside a small town, they dropped off the contact, letting 2 people leave from there. The captain also gave them $3 million, telling them not to mention this to anyone. After saying this, the captain returned to the plane. 4 hours left until they reached the coast. Everyone quietly breathed a sigh of relief, unaware that the most dangerous moment was about to come. At dawn they finally reached the Andes Mountains. The peak stood tall right ahead. The plane tried to fly between the 2 lowest peaks, but the heavy overloaded cache made it impossible to gain altitude. To survive, they had to throw out cash to lighten the load. The plane quickly climbed, almost clearing the summit. Suddenly the plane dropped. Huge packages dragged the plane down toward the mountain base. The plane gradually lost power. Luckily they remembered a nearby village, where there was a place suitable for landing. But before landing, they had to get rid of the money bags. Tragically, the mechanical lever broke at that moment. There was no time left. One team member risked climbing out of the plane, kicked the stuck lever open. The packages crashed heavily into villagers' farmland. Fortunately, everyone was safe, but troubles came one after another. Nearby villagers had already opened the packages. The captain immediately ordered guards around. He and a local-speaking teammate went to negotiate, but no one could resist the temptation of so much cash. The villagers refused to leave. The captain's nerves snapped. The situation spiraled out of control. The team quickly surrounded and drove the villagers back, but they still needed to figure out how to leave. So the captain bribed the village chief, using some money to compensate villagers and buy mules. Then the team loaded money bags onto mules preparing to leave. But a boy who lost his father blocked their way. Luckily, the village chief stepped in to resolve it. The boy then stepped aside, but crossing the Andes on foot was no easy task. Passing a steep cliff, a horse slipped and fell off the cliff. Tens of thousands of bills scattered in the air, but instead of sadness, they laughed, because they still had 160 million left. Next, they had to climb over a big mountain. They used ropes to haul the money bags up. After reaching the top, they decided to rest for the night. They huddled together but still felt cold. They wanted to start a fire to warm up, but there was nothing to burn here. One teammate lit a stack of bills. Everyone didn't stop him. They poured out a whole box of money. They gathered around and spent the night like that. But the next day, disaster struck. A gunshot came from nearby. They quickly hid behind rocks. Then they used the sound to locate the enemy, rapidly pinpointing the enemy spot. But a shooter sneaked behind the captain. By the time he noticed, it was too late. Teammates immediately returned fire, but the captain was still fatally hit. They had no time to mourn. Carrying the captain's body, they moved forward. But the heavy money bags plus an adult's weight seriously slowed their pace. If this continued, the enemy would catch them sooner or later. After discussion, they decided not to abandon their brother, so they threw a dozen money bags into a valley. Each carrying one bag, they kept moving. At last that night, they reached the nearest town. This was the road to the sea. They hijacked a local truck under cover of darkness, then rushed towards the coast, but the locals soon discovered and chased after them. Luckily, their pickup boat arrived. They boarded the boat smoothly and successfully left. Back at home, the original 250 million was reduced to only 5 million. None of the 4 took any of it, leaving the money for the captain's family. After the goodbyes, one teammate handed a note to a man. On it was the location where they dumped the money bags.